The Burning Shores DLC for Horizon Forbidden West is here, and with it comes a ton of new legendary weapons and armor, some items hidden throughout the game, along with some pretty crazy weapon upgrades you can get as well. So I've got a bunch of tips to make your life a bit easier throughout your Burning Shores playthrough. And thank you to PlayStation for sending over a code so I could play this DLC. If you're wondering how to start the Burning Shores DLC, it's actually very simple. You just have to have completed the story of Forbidden West. So as soon as you've installed the Burning Shores DLC and have completed the story, you'll get a call from Silence starting the To the Burning Shores quest. Once you start the Burning Shores, you'll come across your first big settlement not too long into the game at all. The shops here at the Fleet's End is where you're going to come across the mass majority of your new legendary weapons and legendary armor sets. You have the Emperor's Reign Hunter's Bow, a must-have in my opinion. I don't think anyone playing doesn't pack a hunting bow in their loadout. But you've got the Warrior Bow, Sharp Shot Bow, Bolt Blaster, Shredder Gauntlet, and a legendary Rope Caster. For some reason, I think that was like the only legendary weapon not included in the base game. During like your third story mission called Heaven and Earth, while venturing through some ruins prior to the big puzzle code area with the solar system, you can find a chest which contains the legendary blast sling, the Skyhammer. This gives you a legendary blast sling that can shoot out incendiary, ice, or water elemental bombs, so a bit different from the Wings of 10 legendary blast sling that we had from the base game. It's hard to tell so far if it's necessarily worlds better. It sort of just gives you different ammo for different situations, so if you're a fan of blast slings, it could be beneficial to carry both of these. If you head over to these relic ruins here on the map, you can complete them, and in doing so, will automatically start the A Friend in the Dark side quest, and if you finish that, you'll be rewarded with the legendary spike thrower, the Last Argument. Much like the previous legendary weapon, it sort of adds on to the other legendary spike thrower, the Sky Killer, by giving you some additional ammo types to play with. As you can see, it just has a tad bit more damage than the Sky Killer, at least in the explosive ammo department. Take that for what you will, but it seems like most of the legendary weapons just have different variants that will be good for different uses. I don't think there's necessarily the best one. What's still missing is a legendary Trip Caster. You have the one in the base game, but so far I have not found one in the DLC. That's really the only weapon that doesn't have a legendary variant that I've found in the DLC so far. And I've completed pretty much everything, so I'm interested to see if there's one hidden around somewhere. They do, however, have the new legendary weapon, the Zenith style Spectre. You may already know that this thing can deal some pretty good damage if you press R1 to shoot the enemy with a sort of homing tracker, so that when you shoot with R2 you can shoot whoever you're fighting without really a need to really accurately aim on them. But if you follow the side quest called In His Wake, which is started at the main settlement again, you'll be granted with some railgun parts. Using these railgun parts to upgrade the Spectre, which I believe is part of that side quest. If not, just go to a workbench to upgrade it, and you'll get the new railgun ammo type that you can swap to on the weapon wheel in order to deal some massive damage. You can use this just like your regular ammo by pressing R1 to fire a tracker on the enemy, and then hold R2 until the railgun fully charges to fire a pretty powerful shot. I've seen that some people don't really like this weapon, but I think it's pretty dang good. For our legendary armor sets, we have the Quen Marine, in my opinion, probably the best armor set in the Burning Shores because it leans more towards the hunter bows, which I tend to use a lot. But if you like to mess around with all of the other resonator buildup and damage, you may want to unlock the Quen Commander outfit, which you probably saw a lot in the build up to Burning Shores release. Or you could try the Nora Lookout outfit, which is also based around healing. That's probably my least favorite one so far. Honestly, the legendary armor in the DLC, in my opinion, doesn't look too great, at least in comparison to the base game outfits. Maybe they just haven't had time to grow on me though. But we do have an additional armor set here, hidden behind a side quest, which you can begin very early on in the DLC. The quest is called the Splinter Within, and is started at that first settlement, Fleet's End, towards almost the center of the map, and at the end of it, you'll be awarded with the Quen Deadeye outfit, an infiltrator armor, highly leaning towards stealth, so you could possibly get something really good going if you're using that new legendary Sharp Shot bow and stay further away from enemies. All of those new armor sets and weapons that are purchased at the shops in the new Fleet's End settlement all require a new resource called Brimshine, and I believe every single one of them cost 8. Not only that, but the upgrades from like level 3 to 5 all take an increasing amount of Brimshine. At first that can be a little bit annoying because you're like, where the heck am I going to get all of this Brimshine? It's like a rare resource. But I've got a few really good ways to get it, which ends up making it even easier than the regular armor upgrades, where before you had to sort of hunt down individual machines to get specific parts and hope they drop those parts. First off, you'll come across quite a bit throughout side quests and main story quests. Just make sure you look around a little bit, like during the side quest, A Friend in the Dark. There's a couple of different locations here where a couple of spots had some Brimshine, one of which had a chunk of 3. I'll try to show some more locations where I found specific Brimshine on the map. Like here at this one, if you fly over and shoot the explosive, you'll uncover some more Brimshine. And then underwater, once you get a water wing, just swim around and scan with R3 and you'll come across a ton of different locations underwater where you'll find Brimshine. On top of this, you can make it way easier if you create a job for Brimshine while at the shop to make an actual trackable marker for it. That way it makes it a bit easier to find. You'll just have to travel back and spend it, and then track the quest again if you want to repeat the process. An extremely good way to get a jump start on Brimshine though is the Maw of the Arena. I don't think this opens up until you've completed the main story to the Burning Shores, which takes a few hours, but once you do, you can head back to the Maw of the Arena, where you can now take on some new challenges. Completing these new champion challenges I believe gives you like 20 something Brimshine, along with some decent elite weapons and armor coils or weaves as rewards. These are the all new elite coils and weaves that the DLC has brought. I've hardly tested these out myself yet, so I'm not going to dive too deep. If you do want some more tips and build type videos with these, let me know, but these are some pretty interesting additions to some of the more powerful combos and builds we had previously. Anyways, participating and completing the arena is a must, at least if you want some really easy Brimshine and free elite weaves and coils. But besides all of that Brimshine you can get, and I mean, grabbing all of that will get you off to a pretty big start, you also have the secret unmarked side quest where you have to find 7 different Delver trinkets, pretty much as a treasure hunt. If you come across this location here on the map, a Delver camp, this is where I found my first Delver trinket. You just want to head west of that, and you'll find a cave alongside that big island. There's like a barrel hanging above the entrance to it. You'll have to solve like a bit of a puzzle to get towards the top of it by dragging a crate. You have to sort of drag it around all the way to the other side so you can climb up and then climb around over to your Delver trinket. Now, I have not yet finished the Delver trinket quest, but I figured I'd mention it since this is basically how you start it, and also this location here gives you 4 Brimshine behind a breakable wall, where you pick up that first Delver trinket, the Cherished Flask, which also gives you a description leading to your next trinket. By the time this video goes up, I'm sure I've at least found some of these, but leave it in the comments if you find another trinket and its location. These Delver guys were basically pirates on a hunt for gold, so most likely this is going to lead to some Brimshine, but who knows. I'm excited to get to the end of it though. Hopefully it's not as disappointing as the Pangea Figurines side quest, which after finding all 5 and then typing in the codes, probably the most work a quest in Burning Shores takes, all you get is a face paint. I don't know if I was missing something here or what, but you go around getting all 5 different dinosaur collectibles, have to decipher their code by looking into the description of them to see what code to type on the consoles after you go all the way back to this location in Pangea. All of the side quests are handing out different legendary weapons and armor and gear, so you're like, oh, what am I gonna get from this? And then it gives you a face paint. It's so weird. It's like they kind of just didn't know what else to put in, so they just gave you a face paint for this. You could honestly just skip this entire quest if you wanted to. The Dino Digits quest is kind of a waste of time. On top of all of that, we also have a ton of new settings that you definitely should check out to make your life way easier. Most importantly, the massive improvement on item pickups, which you can enable here in the settings to either cut out the animation to item pickups or enable auto pickup. So if you enable auto pickup, it also cuts out the animations, so the only difference between these is that one automatically picks up items that you are not already full on. The best part is just cutting out the animations though. Now you can go around grabbing Ridgewood and all of that good stuff without having to constantly perform the animation. It's a giant quality of life improvement. They've also brought along the ability to track your marked objectives, sort of like you could do in Ragnarok, but all you have to do here is go into your focus by holding R3 and tap L1 so it will snap onto wherever your marker is. If this isn't working, it's probably because you're holding R3. If you don't let go of R3 before tapping L1, it's not going to track. I love this feature, especially since this game can be a bit of a cluster at times. I don't know about you guys, but I sometimes spend way too much time just trying to figure out where the Stitcher is at or where each individual shop is. But that's pretty much it for now. I'll have more videos on the Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores DLC soon. Let me know what you guys think of the Burning Shores DLC down in the comments. See ya.